Well, welcome everyone to the Joining the Cloud Revolution webinar. We're excited to be with you today and share with you some of the latest advances in cloud computing infrastructure and how these can benefit your business. My name is Bill Lowry. I'm the Services Marketing Manager for All Covered, and I've been in the IT and software industry for over 25 years. I started on centralized computing with mainframes, moved to distributed computing with local and wide area networks, and now help drive technology centered in cloud computing. All Covered is the managed IT services division of Konica Minolta and a leader in providing cloud and managed IT services to businesses of all sizes. We're headquartered in Foster City, California, and have offices in 25 major markets in the United States. We also partner with the Konica Minolta dealer channel to provide IT services nationwide. We have over 800 employees with more than 600 trained and certified IT professionals and engineers on our staff. Now, during our webinar today, I'd like you to be as involved as you possibly can. So please, if you have questions or comments, feel free to use the chat window, and our moderator, Jean, will be able to transcribe those for us and see that I'm able to get to those questions. Now, I'll probably queue those up and save them for the end of the presentation, but I do want to welcome those questions and look forward to hearing how these services and solutions can be a benefit to you. So the question that we get quite frequently is rather simple. It is, what is cloud computing? Is this something new? How does it differ from the type of computing environment that we're familiar with? Well, simply put, cloud computing is a new way of delivering the power required for business computing. It's a high-density computing infrastructure. Because of the size and the scale of the hardware infrastructure these days, we're able to consolidate many of the services and tasks that were once completed by many individual servers. We're able to consolidate those on single servers or even portions of single servers using virtualization technology. So cloud computing is a much higher density computing infrastructure that is delivered from secure data centers that are housed outside of the organization itself. So really the goal of cloud computing is to get you the flexibility you need to deliver the services you need anytime and anywhere you need them. In fact, that's one of the great benefits of cloud computing, and it's a direct response to the way we're conducting business today. Today's users need 24/7 access to their data from a multitude of devices from wherever there are. Delivering these resources from the cloud makes it more convenient and more responsive to the flexibility that is required by today's users. Additionally, managing your own IT resources has become an increased burden for most organizations as hardware costs and complexity increases, as the need for that data 24/7 has grown, and as IT becomes a greater burden as more and more processes within an organization are dependent on IT. Better to have those resources centrally stored and managed and available, and to be able to remove that business element of managing the IT from within the organization. One of the great benefits of cloud computing is it allows organizations to focus on their core business, on the elements and the services that they're delivering, while knowing that their underlying infrastructure is managed and maintained securely and dynamically by cloud experts. So what are the business drivers that are helping accelerate cloud computing? The questions that we ask our clients typically are, do they want to move away from having to buy, maintain, and eventually upgrade their own computer systems to run their business? Do you need access to your data from any location and from any type of device? And do you want the peace of mind knowing that your business data is stored in a secure data center and is accessible 24/7 from the cloud? You know, in fact, if you look at cloud computing from a high level, it's not much different from other business transformations that have taken place. In fact, if you look simply 100 years ago toward the turn of the century, businesses used to make their own electricity to power their businesses using an in-house generator. And each business that was reliant on electricity to perform certain functions took on this responsibility themselves of creating a generator, hiring the engineers to manage and maintain this new technology and to make this available for them to conduct their business. And yet, this aspect of business was completely revolutionized by Edison. He created a way to distribute the power and to make it available, make it on demand, and have it available 24/7, so that it became cleaner, cheaper, and more cost-effective for businesses to get their power from an outside source. And they're still accomplishing their business goals, but they've removed from them the need to provide this element that's critical to their business. Cloud computing is the same way. Cloud computing gives businesses access to the computing resources they need, the tools they need to get their business done and to reach their business objectives without the investment, the maintenance, and the hassle of creating that infrastructure themselves. In essence, it's having that on-demand computing resources that are scalable and that are paid for as they're consumed by the business, as opposed to making that large investment up front to train and to purchase the infrastructure and to provide that service that's used by the business. But what good is a great service or the ability to subscribe to computing services on demand if it doesn't meet the computing needs of my organization? And that's the great thing about cloud computing. As it's become available, of course, businesses and cloud providers have stepped in to provide the individual services that are necessary for your business. So what's being done in the cloud today is now an extensive list of IT services and solutions that used to be required to be done on-premise. Everything from collaboration software, remote desktop, remote access for traveling users, as well as flexible remote desktop solutions used by many organizations. Email, of course, has long been in the cloud. Video conferences, again, we mentioned the traveling workforce and supporting those traveling workforce. Media streaming, your customer relationship management. Contractors and vendors are great tools and applications that are used to provide the collaboration and communication between supply chain partners, and having those resources shared in the cloud can facilitate access across multiple constituents who have need of those particular resources. IP telephone, in fact, we're speaking today via some IP telephone services that are based in the cloud. A disaster recovery is a great solution that many of our clients are using in the cloud, and we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes as we look at some specific examples from All Covered's client base as some who have benefited from the cloud. Web commerce, any line of business application is worth taking a look at how it could be run in the cloud to increase its availability, protect the data, and ensure that it's up and available for you when you need it. And data backup. The cloud is a great place to replicate your data so that you have access to it in the event of a disaster or some type of a catastrophic failure. Now, the benefits specifically of All Covered's cloud are that we're using enterprise-level hardware for building our cloud infrastructure. Our cloud infrastructure is fully managed and maintained by All Covered's cloud team, a team of experts with years of experience in virtualization and in cloud hosting and secure data centers. Our cloud solutions can be accessed anywhere, and they're fully scalable to meet the needs of businesses of every size. And there's no hardware investment required by our clients. We have the shared resources and infrastructure even fully dedicated hardware if desired to optimize your computing infrastructure and to make it available to expand and grow as you need it. So let's take a look at some specific examples from All Covered's client base to see what they're doing in the cloud and how an All Covered cloud solution can be a benefit to them. One particular client is Clarkston State Bank. They're a local community bank of 6 branches located in Michigan. And what they found themselves with are they had some aging infrastructure as a result of some mergers and acquisitions that they had done in growing this small bank. And of course, we see this all the time in the banking business of a small bank in one town merges with a small bank in another town. But as a result of that, they had dissimilar hardware and some aging infrastructure that was getting a little out of date. Additionally, they had some unreliable power resources, one specifically that caused a major outage for them, and they lost communication between the branches for several days. The solution was to move them to an all-covered cloud servers location, all-covered cloud server solution, and to co-locate their existing hardware upon which they were still dependent. So they did have some of their servers were still current and were running some line of business financial applications. And we were able to blend some newly provisioned servers in the all-covered cloud with co-location of those existing servers that were running some of their critical financial applications. This eliminated the need for them to purchase new servers at secondary locations. Those aging servers that were in need of retirement, they saved themselves from the infrastructure investment to do that. Likewise, our cloud data centers have fully redundant power. They're all on dual power grids so that they didn't need to purchase additional backup power hardware and pay for infrastructure upgrades to ensure that they would have reliability. They let us take care of all of that for them so that they leverage the benefits of our cloud computing infrastructure and our Tier 3 data centers with redundant power, cooling, and built-in backups as well. By doing this, they were able to achieve the regulatory compliance conditions for their particular business. So if we take a look at what they had, on the left side of the screen, you'll see that they had multiple branches, each of which over time had its own server running at that branch to take care of the local business. And then as they acquired additional branches, they simply connected those servers to each other so that they could share client data and have it accessible in the other branches. Again, having done this as a bit of an afterthought or having done it simply as they made these acquisitions, it became a bit cumbersome for them. And there were multiple points of failure within this that would cause the communication to go down between specific branches. By moving to a cloud solution, we were able to consolidate all of the servers in our cloud platform, as well as co-locate their existing line of business servers. Now, each of the branches could independently access that data as it was stored as a collective whole in the cloud, as opposed to pieced together through the individual connections within the various branches. So now each branch became a bit more autonomous with regards to their data, having full access to the data, being able to update and read and make decisions from that data as they needed to. There were no longer dependencies between the branches, between the backups and the power of those branches, because each had direct connectivity to the cloud. So the cloud was a great way for them to achieve regulatory compliance, increase their uptime, and significantly reduce their capital investments by not having to replace aging infrastructure only to replicate it in their on-premise solution, but to move it to the cloud so that it was accessible on a monthly recurring cost as opposed to a large upfront investment. Now, another similar story for us is another community bank. They were undergoing an audit to meet their federal requirements, and the auditor was concerned about their proximity to the water. So in this case, they were up and running just fine, but there were some concerns with their infrastructure and how they might be affected in the event of a large storm or some other weather condition. Likewise, they were looking for some flexibility for future growth. They too are a series of community banks and have grown through acquisition over the last few years. So what we did is we worked with their line of business vendors. We worked with their application service providers. They're using some outsourced applications specific to the financial markets. And we do this quite often, working with the large application vendors, whether it's in the healthcare market, such as the EMR and the other patient information records, or whether it's banking and financial regulatory applications, encryption, other communications that are necessary in financial transactions. Again, in the legal discovery, things of that nature, document management for legal process, we work with these line of business applications to help host those in the cloud to make sure that they're available and accessible. And we did that with this particular organization as well. We were able to work with their vendors to help specify and deploy the cloud infrastructure that would best support these particular applications. And then we deployed a virtual desktop infrastructure to enable remote access so that each of the branches involved and the employees at those branches had access to a common shared infrastructure customized for them that had access to their unique applications, and yet it was hosted remotely in our secure data center so that it would not be affected by local outages and potential weather concerns. The benefits for Ocean City is they were able to meet their audit and compliance requirements, and they now have their cloud servers are replicated to 2 distinct data centers. We have data centers on the East Coast in Virginia, and we have another data center in the western United States in Arizona. And we're able to replicate data and images across those data centers so that if there was some type of major outage that even took out a data center, which we've never had happen, but certainly we want to plan for worst case scenarios. We have that data replicated in secondary data centers in completely different geographic areas, and that can be to spun up and take the place of the primary infrastructure. So this, again, removed the concern of the auditor of being the proximity to water and being subject to weather outages or other local concerns. We made those a non-issue by being able to replicate across 2 cloud data centers. Likewise, we simplified the remote access for all their employees through standardizing on common infrastructure across all of their application interfaces. Now, another solution that we'd like to look at is a great collaboration solution for a large real estate developer that we've been working with. So again, Avison Young is located in Toronto. They're a commercial real estate services firm with over 1,500 real estate professionals in 58 offices and quite a large number of buildings and resources under management. And what they needed to do is collaborate amongst their employees while redefining and improving their internal business processes. And the solution was for All Covered to our application development team to implement some SharePoint services and to host those in the All Covered cloud. We're able to create for them an intranet solution with a series of tools to allow them to share data between all their offices and employees, to modernize manual processes by bringing them online. And this is no small undertaking. Many businesses have manual processes which they've been using for years as a way of getting things done. And then as technology became available, they simply would insert pieces of technology into those manual processes. Well, to truly do things to improve one's processes, it's really best to look at the full solution end to end and determine not just where we can apply technology to the solution, but how can we reinvent the process. And All Covered was key in helping them really modernize and change their processes and take advantage fully of the cloud computing infrastructure and collaboration tools to change the way they do business. This allowed them a much greater accessibility to company tools and resources, even on mobile devices, so that they could have those anywhere they needed them. So again, all of their back-end technology is housed in Tier 3 data centers with integrated backup and replication to secondary locations, so all of our cloud benefits. And then we were able to customize the look and feel of their applications and services so that they worked across multiple operating systems, multiple devices, and were able to be used by all of their employees. Now, another instance of cloud success for a client of ours is a company called Greater Des Moines Partnership. They are a community development organization servicing central Iowa. They've got 21 affiliate chambers of commerce and over 5,000 business members that they service. This was an interesting solution, something that clearly they hadn't planned to happen, but thankfully they had planned for and were able to recover. They actually had a fire in an adjacent building. So they heard the news on the radio as they were coming into work that and when they got there, the streets were blocked off. They were unable to get into their building. The solution that they had in place that saved them was they had our business continuity solution that was replicated to the cloud. So all of their local servers were imaged and backed up to a local appliance, and then those same server images were replicated to the cloud so that they could be accessed remotely in the event of a site disaster, which is exactly what they faced. Their local servers and even their local backup device was damaged by water and smoke. Again, this was a fire in the adjacent building, but because they were connected from a breezeway and because of the nature of the damage in putting out the fire and in bringing them up, power was off and there was extensive smoke and water damage. But we were able to spin up that replicated version of their server in the cloud and to point their remote devices to these backup clouds. In essence, it's like a temporary spare tire. We're able to bring that up, get them up and running, and even though they lost access to the building, they had full access to their systems and the data in the cloud. So we see that even months after the fire, the nearby businesses were closed because of damage and repair works that needed to be done. Not only were tenants of that building at risk, but also neighboring organizations were affected as well. Now, the process for them was fairly straightforward. Step A is we spun their data up in the cloud so that was available for them. They could access it remotely. And then their disaster recovery plan had them looking for new facilities and a temporary location where they could rehouse their employees because they couldn't get back into their original location. And then that gave them the time to look for a long-term location. The great news to them was that their data was up and running. So those employees that had to work remotely, employees that were working from the temporary new physical location, they were able to continue to provide services for their clients and have it available to them so that they could carry on business. And then eventually, what they decided to do is they moved their existing on-premise servers, rather than rebuild those locally after they found their long-term location, they actually decided to migrate those primary servers to the cloud as well, as a way of protecting them from a potential further outage. So it was a great success story for this business that they could keep up and running and also leverage this to go to the cloud long term as well. As you can see, our clients have varying stories of how our cloud services bring them benefits, whether it is a regulatory compliance, flexibility in providing services, saving upfront costs so that they didn't have to make initial capital investments to grow their infrastructure, scalability, the ability to grow and to support a business's expansion and acquisition. In some cases, it was a collaboration and helping redefine their business processes. And in other cases, it has been for disaster recovery and business continuity. There are as many ways to benefit from cloud computing as there are ways to go to the cloud. So again, whether it's collaboration, whether it's backup and recovery, whether it's email, whether it's working with your supply chain, your vendors and partners, all of these are processes that can be strengthened into the cloud. Now, how do we do it? Again, we have a lot of things working for you as we look at migrating you to the cloud. Our cloud team has over 40 years of multi-tenant data center experience. So we're very used to having multiple clients sharing some of the same underlying resources. And we can talk a bit. I see some of the questions were around how do we share our infrastructure, so I'll address those in just a bit. But that multi-tenant data center experience is a great value to our clients in making sure that they are secure and protected and that they have access to the right amount of resources to optimize the way they run their computing environments. We have well over 200 companies that are running their business in the all-covered cloud. They have fully migrated from on-premise solutions to fully cloud-based solutions housed in one of the all-covered Tier 3 data centers. Additionally, we have some clients that just use our cloud computing for part of their solution, as was the case with Greater Des Moines Partnership. They used us just for cloud backup and continuity before their disaster, and now they use us in a more fully engaged cloud solution. But that's all right. We've got the all-covered cloud is flexible and is designed to help with various business issues and scenarios that you may have. The way we keep our data centers up and running is not only through our engineering and tools, but also by having redundant data centers in 2 geographic locations. Each of these data centers are on dual power grids. They have multiple internet service provider connections running to those data centers so that if one internet service provider has a failure, we can fail over to others and keep up and available. In fact, we have a service level agreement for our cloud services that is 99.995% uptime. So again, this is baked into our contract, and we have this contractual commitment with our clients to keep those servers up and running. We've got 24/7 support. We have quite a bit of data under management. That's over 3 petabytes of production storage in both solid-state storage, SSD, high-speed SAS, or standard-grade SATA storage. We can do hybrid or private infrastructure as a service cloud. Again, hybrid is a combination of virtual private cloud on top of shared infrastructure, or we can offer a fully isolated, dedicated hardware specific to a client. So for those of you that have larger infrastructure needs and you want a complete hardware platform dedicated for you on a scalable monthly basis, we can offer that as well. And then we have the reserve compute option. Reserve compute is an inexpensive way for us to replicate your data to the secondary location. It's not quite a high availability solution. The failover isn't immediate, but it is very quick in that we can bring your servers up in our second data center and have them available to you in the event that there was some type of local disaster. Our cloud solutions are all about optimizing the way you use your computing infrastructure, making it available to you as an on-demand resource, and then being scalable and flexible to provide all of your computing needs. So why cloud computing? Well, just as Edison revolutionized power, All Covered is looking to be a player in revolutionizing the way organizations use their computing resources as a way of providing the tools that are necessary for our clients to deliver on their business objectives. So again, All Covered, we can help you with your IT needs so that you can focus on your business. Our cloud is we're a proven provider of cloud platforms and services using enterprise-grade, state-of-the-art technology. The best way to get started with us is to have a discussion with our IT service consultants and to look at your current infrastructure, your current IT infrastructure, and to map out what's the path to the cloud. How can your organization benefit from this revolutionary way that computing resources are delivered and consumed, so that you can focus on improving and strengthening your business while we focus on delivering you the underlying infrastructure to get the job done. Now, as a way of incenting you to have this discussion with your All Covered solutions consultant, we're inviting everyone who's on this webinar to have a 1 month of free cloud servers as part of the contract. So again, this is an offer that we're making available to you, and we want you to know that, again, a way of helping you look at what are the best ways to get into the cloud and how best to optimize your infrastructure. So the thing to do would be to start with an All Covered expert. Talk to the IT services consultant and the solutions architect who can help you map out your path to the cloud and map out the benefits that you would like to achieve and how those can best be realized in your organization. And then we'll build a custom solution that's right for your business. It could be a phased approach where perhaps we look at where can we strengthen your existing IT infrastructure with the cloud. Is it backup? Is it collaboration? Is it email continuity? Or perhaps shoring up some area where there is a regulatory need. And then perhaps we look at the bigger picture as well. Might it be a combination of cloud and on-premise solutions? And then how would that eventually move to the cloud altogether to really optimize the way that you're consuming your computing resources and to give you the tools you need to conduct business. So you can call us at our main sales number, which is 866-446-1133, and we can get you connected with the local experts in your market. As I mentioned, we're in over 25 cities in the United States, and we have local engineering resources and local IT services consultants in each of those markets to sit down with you and to help you map out the path to the cloud that makes the most sense for you, that truly supports your business objectives and your desires for moving to the cloud. So that being said, I thank you for joining us today to learn a bit more about the cloud and how the All Covered Cloud solution can be a benefit to you. At this point in time, we'd like to address some of the questions that have come up. So let me kind of run through those. So here's one. What about industry-specific software? Would that work? So again, as I mentioned, some of our banking clients, we do have many of our cloud clients that have specific software that they use to run key business elements. So again, our cloud servers, we're providing the underlying Windows Server infrastructure and architecture We can also provide Linux application servers if your particular application needs that. And then you would provide us with the license to run that line of business application on top of that Windows or server license. So much like you do with your on-premise solution, where you purchase the software and run it on top of a Windows or Linux server, you would simply be running that on top of the cloud. And we would work with that vendor to help optimize that solution to make sure that we had the right variables in place, things such as bandwidth, the speed of the storage could be an issue, the backup and the retention of data. So all of these elements that are required for any line of business solution would be taken into consideration. We would map those out with you, and then we would make those resources available in the cloud to meet those specific needs. All right, here's another question: is do you offer virtualization, and if so, what products do you offer? Again, the servers in the all-covered cloud are most likely to be virtual. We do some dedicated physical servers as well. If you have a specific need for a database cluster or virtual desktop farm, we can provide those using dedicated hardware. But as a typical rule, our all-covered servers are virtualized. And again, we use a combination of technology from the underlying hardware is from Cisco, and then we use technology for VMware so that we can virtualize the machines and isolate them with their own unique firewall so that every client has a dedicated virtual firewall and kind of virtual sandbox. And we have engineers certified in all of the virtualization platforms, including VMware, Citrix, and Microsoft. So all of those technologies are options. Here's one: how are documents secured from loss from a system crash? So again, we have a backup is included as part of our platform. We can also add replication from one data center to another. Again, we mentioned the reserve compute option, which allows us to replicate servers and the data from those servers in both of our data centers. And again, we're engineered for uptime and the ability to keep those systems up and running with 4.5 nines. Another question we had today is, please discuss security concerns. So again, all of our security for data really is addressed on multiple fronts within our cloud computing infrastructure. First of all is the physical security. By putting your server infrastructure in the cloud, you are now in a Tier 3 data center. So again, these data centers are secured with video surveillance. There are 24-hour security guards, and biometric factors are used for gaining access to the centers themselves. And then within the data centers, every one of the systems is uniquely isolated from the others. So there's physical security. There's again security from power outage and from weather outages with redundant power, redundant cooling. And then there's data security. We back up all of the data, and then we replicate that data to our secondary data center and have that available in case there's any type of outage. Of course, we're using, again, security tools and services as well to prevent, we have resources for intrusion protection and intrusion detection so that we can see if someone is trying to gain access to the IP addresses involved for your particular services. We can immediately see if there's any type of rogue data usage and take the appropriate action to make sure that there's no lasting security issues there as well. So security is handled on multiple fronts, some of which is inherent into the cloud design itself, with our physical security and data security. Others we can discuss in your meetings with the IT services consultant as you look at what additional, if there's additional layers of virtual security that you would like to have deployed as part of your solution. Certainly, we're able to make those available and have them accessible for you. All right, here's a great question that came up. What if a company contracts with you for cloud services and then later decides to change to another provider? This is really a strength that I think that All Covered has that really reflects on our way of doing business. At the end of the day is we want to do everything we possibly can to gain and to keep your business. But we also recognize that at times there are business reasons that would necessitate you either maybe you want to move your data back on site, maybe you want to go back on premise, or maybe you know, there are other factors that would require you to move to another data center. We are not going to hold your data hostage. Your data is exactly that. It's your data. We happen to be housing it in our cloud facility. So if you really needed your data out of our cloud facility, and you know, whether you're moving that on-premise or moving that to another provider, it doesn't really matter to us. We're going to work with you to get your data to you in a format that is usable for you. So there might be an additional project work. We might you know, need to assign you know, a block of time for an engineer to work with you to snapshot those virtual machines or to back up that data and to move it onto a USB drive and to send it out to you. But we certainly will do everything that we can to provide you your data, how you need it and when you need it. And we're not going to hold it hostage. We're not going to extort from you, you know, monthly fees just so that you can keep your data live. That is certainly not the way we do business. And it does happen on occasion, again, where there are, you know, business reasons for moving your data somewhere else, and we're going to help you to get that. So here's a follow-up question with security. With regard to security, are you able to guard against ransomware invasions? Actually, we use a combination of multiple tools within our all-covered solution to guard against ransomware. Ransomware, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, is kind of a new type of malware that is hidden. There was the CryptoLocker virus, and what a ransomware does is it when the malware penetrates is downloaded to your PC, what it does is then it goes out to a malicious website, and it's really a two-stage type of malware. It's downloaded to your PC, and that alone doesn't do anything harmful. But it starts the process. And then when it goes out to one of these websites, then it downloads some technology that encrypts the data on your hardware, and then they hold your data as a ransom, right? Certainly if all of the data on your local hard drive or on your network became encrypted, you would be at the mercy. Now, there are a couple of great ways to guard against ransomware intrusion. First and foremost is to have a good backup, right? Because if you get infected with malware and that becomes ransomware, and they're threatening to encrypt your data, all we need to do is roll back to the backup just before the malware hits you and restore from there, and it's gone. So again, in our cloud solutions and our on-premise solutions, we have regular backup cycles. We retain that data, those daily backups for predetermined, you know, periods of time, so we can always roll back to the last good version of backup and avoid that, and by restoring the last good backup, the malware's gone, right? Because that ransomware wasn't able to complete stage 2 to encrypt the data. It doesn't matter; it's now gone. So, so that's the best defense against ransomware, and something that we build into our solutions. Now, an additional layer of defense, there are various tools, web protection tools that we use with our clients that prevent that stage 2 from happening. So that even if the malware is loaded, when it tries to go out to one of these malicious websites to complete the encryption, those websites are blocked. So we recommend a good web protection solution layered with backups. And we have all covered. We have had a few clients that have been hit with malware. And again, most of them, again, those that didn't have their web protection service up and running, we were able to restore from backup. Countless clients, we were able to prevent the malware from happening in the first place by having the appropriate levels of malware and web protection software in place. So again, these are great discussions to have with your IT services consultant, because any of you that have concerns about security, viruses, malware, and securing your business data, certainly looking at the cloud as a tool for providing you the security and the safety that is necessary. These are the right questions to ask and the right conversations to have. And we feel very confident that All Covered can help you in crafting a solution, or frankly, you can turn it over to us fully and let our cloud and solution architects design and scope out security and cloud-based solutions that can protect you from almost any type of security and disaster scenario and outage. All right, those are all the questions that I have coming up. Gene, are there any others that have come in for us? All right. Well, again, I appreciate your time. Oh, hang on. I got one more here that I overlooked. Let me just address a couple of these here. Does this mean that we will not have to purchase updated software from Microsoft? So yes, it does. With your cloud solution, we're able to license the software for your cloud solutions on a monthly basis, along with the virtual machines that you get from us on a monthly basis. So if you're putting in an Exchange server or a SharePoint server, you wouldn't need to provide the Exchange or SharePoint licenses. We can provide those for you as part of the monthly service. And that includes all of your software maintenance and any updates. So if Exchange gets updated, the software gets updated as well as part of that monthly fee. So you don't have to provide the software licenses with those particular services. All right. Another question is, can I spin up and spin down my own servers? That you cannot do. So we're not providing a kind of a development and test environment the way some cloud providers do. We're really providing a level of infrastructure that is highly secure, highly scalable, and is designed to take the place of your on-premise solutions. It is not configured in a way that you can spin up a server for a few hours, test something, spin it down, spin that server back up a couple of weeks later. Our services are on a monthly basis, and so we don't spin up fractions less than that. It really is designed to be your primary infrastructure for the long haul, not a big test environment. If you have need for that, you can you'd have to talk to us independently. There may be something that we could do for you, but that's not what we're geared for. All right, it looks like that's the bulk of the questions. Again, thank you so much for joining us on this webinar today. We hope that it was of value to you, and we look forward to hearing from you as you meet with our IT services consultants to help determine how best you can benefit from the cloud computing revolution. Thanks, everyone.